Hello and welcome to Nothing to Wear, the podcast that solves fashion problems and levels up your wardrobe. I'm Annaliese Todd, filling in for Leigh Campbell. I'm a lifestyle writer and host of Mamamia's This Glorious Mess podcast. Today we're talking trans-seasonal trends and styles to help navigate this tricky weather. And this week I'm joined by award-winning personal stylist and fashion stylist, Melissa Murgana.
You have to do it. You live for fashion.
So welcome to Nothing to Wear, Melissa.
Thank you very much for having me.
So each week we kick off and we ask guests the same questions.
Yes.
I would like you to describe your style in 3 words.
I would describe my style as feminine, modern, and understated. And I think I have to kind of just touch on the feminine part because a lot of times when either I'm saying that about my style or I'm categorizing someone's style, they go, oh, no, I'm not girly.
Yeah, what do you mean?
It's actually got nothing to do with that. It's talking about the fit. Like I'm someone that likes a nod to the waist. Like even with what I'm wearing today, I've cinched myself in at the waist, even though my garments are a bit more relaxed. I've got that nod to the waist. I've got a little bit of skin showing. So those are picking up on feminine touches rather than being too kind of girly and pretty. That's not my style, but those 3 words will be very clear to how I dress.
Yeah, no, I've stalked you on Instagram. I would describe that as an accurate description. So they say that we only wear 10% of our wardrobe 90% of the time.
Yes.
What's in your 10%?
What's in my 10%? Oh, definitely a white tank. I run very hot, so I would be wearing that for most of the year. Definitely light coloured pants, whether it's a trouser, whether it's a jean, you will be finding me in those through a lot of the times, even when it's not summer. And what is my last one? Oh, probably a blazer. I've got a lot. Rotate them with my tank. And I never go wrong with that combination. I like the fact that it's got a collar. It's still semi-tailored. It just works for me. I can rouge up the sleeves, so I'm getting that skin factor that I spoke about before. It ticks all my boxes.
And you can do brunch, you can do work, you can do dinner.
That's so true. It can really take you across various occasions. So, yeah, it's just it feels like an easy one for me.
Okay, lovely. So we need your help today because we received a very relatable dressing room dilemma.
Yes.
And it's from a listener. They wanted to know, now that the weather is starting to change, what are we wearing? Like what's in, what's out? And Melissa, this is most of your job, helping people find their style no matter what the season.
Yes.
So what are we doing? Help us.
Yeah. So look, it's all about layering. It has been, it's never going to change. Every season is the same when it comes to autumn, winter. We need something to put over the top. So look, for most of my clients, that's their struggle because it's not the same piece for everyone. You know, for one person, it's a cardigan. For the next person, it's a trench. Some people need a bit more warmth than that. So at the moment, we're seeing lots of like barn style jackets. There's bomber jackets around. It's all about what's going over the top. That's going to suit your lifestyle and your body temperature.
Yes.
Welcome to my world.
When I'm looking at my wardrobe at the moment and I'm thinking, okay, well, obviously I'm not going to be rocking my sandals and dresses right now.
Yes.
But it's so difficult because, you know, you're like, oh, my winter wardrobe feels a bit tired. What sort of items can we bring across from the warmer months that we can still utilise in autumn and winter?
Yeah. So definitely your T-shirts, definitely your denim. We're seeing so many colours of denim, particularly this season, from the ecru and creamy tones to kind of like light blacks into deep indigo. So you really kind of got a huge selection there. So they're very much wearable colours through both seasons. And then your T-shirts, your tanks, they're the ones that we're doing lots with. We're wearing them in summer and then we need them as the base layer to then add that extra outerwear option as the weather gets colder.
So the other day I was looking at my winter items and I thought, it's feeling a bit tired. Mm-hmm. But obviously so many of us, we can't just buy a whole new wardrobe every time the weather changes. What are some really key on-trend items that we can look at purchasing just to do a bit of a rezhuzh and a refresh?
Yeah, yeah. So one thing that is coming through heaps with clients at the moment is they're looking to update their cardigans. So where we've previously worn something a bit longer, they're definitely looking for something that little bit more shorter, something that still goes with the jeans and the skirts and the trousers. This is where you might inject a little bit of color. I've got lots of clients loving that sort of burgundy that is very much on trend. So that's definitely a piece that they can wear lots. So I guess that's sort of worth the investment, however much they choose to spend on a cardigan. And then other things like belts, they're so handy. Like you can't, hopefully you can see what I've got on today, but like I've got this kind of reptile belt. It's really piecing two existing that I've had for several seasons pieces and really trying to elevate them and just turn them a bit more contemporary with something that's very on trend, which that kind of reptile whole snake skin is doing without spending too much.
Yeah, so it's just about little accents and features.
Correct. Because like you said, most people aren't just going to go out and buy a whole new outfit. So what are those little injections that you can do to offer enough of a refresh so you don't feel bored, that still deliver on the comfort and everything that you need your wardrobe to do for you?
Yeah. And with the colours, I'm seeing so many burgundies,
Yes.
plums, chocolates,
Yep.
neutrals. Like, why are they such great trans-seasonal colours?
They've got the richness, I guess, which is what lends itself to getting, as that weather gets cooler, those kind of hues really come into their own. They've got that sort of depth of color as well, which, lends itself to winter. And, they're just, I feel like quite easy to wear. Like those plums, they're very much workable back with your neutrals, back with your blue denim skirt, jeans, whatever. We're also seeing a lot of grey coming through. Again, that's sort of a neutral that has been at the background for a little bit, and now it's kind of coming to its own. So yeah, that sort of charcoal, again, it works with blacks, it works with whites, it works with creams. So I think they're still very versatile enough to work back with enough color of the color palette that we would have to work.
And then with something that's so on trend, like all of the different hues of chocolate that we're seeing,
Yes.
would you sort of advise like not to maybe go and buy everything brown because like next
Yes.
season it might be?
Yeah, at the moment, chocolate is trending, but it actually has been in the market for a couple of years already. It's just probably a bit more prominent in terms of now it's in bags and now it's in shoes. It's really kind of spread itself a bit wider. So yes, I wouldn't advise, buying head to toe chocolate if that's what you want. But the little accents are really handy to do.
And how can we mix our statement colours with neutrals without feeling like too loud or too plain?
I think that's where the reptile print, the snake skin that seems to be doing the rounds at the moment, can be really good because it's incorporating a few different colours. It gives you opportunity to blend. So rather than having very stark kind of colors in your like top to bottom, it's a really nice blending kind of tool rather than just doing a solid color or even picking up on something softer. There's a lot of suede around. That could be a softer, subtle way to capture the color palette that you've got.
And how do we layer and without sort of ending up feeling too bulky? And then the other thing is as well, like this time of year, it's like, oh, it's crisp in the morning.
Yes.
And so, on the weekend, I left in like my elevated tracksuit pant and, a little tee and my shacket. And then I was boiling by 10 a.m. and I'd overdressed.
Yes.
How do we sort of get it right this time of year when we're sort of 1 foot in, 1 foot out?
Yes. I think it also comes back to actually knowing your body temperature because mine's definitely changed over the years. For me, a tank and a blazer would probably suffice for pretty much all through winter, but for the next person, it's going to be that little bit different. And also thinking about fabrics, if you are someone that maybe sweats easily, maybe going for some natural fibers in your t-shirt. So, you're kind of covering that as well. There's only so many layers that we can do, but I think you got to think about your kind of combination that you're comfortable with. For someone, it's going to be a shirt and a jumper. For the next person, it might be a t-shirt with a sleeveless vest over the top. You've just got to pick the poison that works best for you.
Yes, I'm a bit of a reptile. Like it's like I feel the cold. So I'm always having lots of layers on me.
Yes.
Are there Any fabrics or textures that work particularly well in unpredictable weather?
Yeah, look, definitely thinking about the composition of the garment is important, and maybe if you do feel like you would overheat easily, maybe just going for a percentage of wool that often gives enough texture, enough you know tactile interest without being sort of too warm, and then it does allow you to put a layer underneath if you need to. Yeah.
And how do we adapt current fashion trends in a more wearable trans-seasonal way? Again, looking at, thinking about people's budgets
Mhm.
and how we can really maximize and getting those like staple pieces into our wardrobes.
Mhm. Well, I think if you get the right ones in first time round, it does make it a little bit easier. So you don't feel that every season you're actually having to update. And it could be just the small, today, just a little earring under $30 just to kind of add a little bit of fashion element without changing up the whole outfit.
Yeah, I like that. I agree. I feel like, you can put an earring or a necklace on and then you're like, oh, I suddenly feel put together and dressy.
Yes, it's really about adding dimension. So through an earring, through a little scarf, through finishing it off with a belt. So many people want to wear a belt, for example, and they just never think to just go that extra step and just chuck one on, because it really does make all the difference to looking a little bit more polished, looking a little bit finished. Finessing is equally as important as I guess the clothes that you're putting on.
Yeah, I agree about the belt. And I think it's a bit of a hangover from the 90s because we used to wear belts and then we were like, oh, no, we're not wearing belts now because our jeans were like down to our pubic bones.
Yeah.
And now we're wearing, belts are coming back in. So you don't automatically think to wear a belt because you're like, oh, that's what, like 50-year-old dudes wear with their chinos.
Yes.
But when you pop one on and there's a little gold accent, it just actually, you just do look more polished.
Yes, yes. And a little bit of advice is that go through and find some inspiration for yourself. And then if you do notice that, oh, actually, she's wearing a blazer, or she's always wearing a scarf, or she's always, has got something in her ear, maybe that lends itself to looking at, inserting a little accessory. And for some people, or for most people, it's not multiple, it's just something. It's just that one finishing element, whether it is the belt, whether it is the earring, whether it is a bit of a layering statement necklace. It's something to just feel completed and a bit more considered rather than just rushing out the door with t-shirt and jeans.
Yeah. And where should people go to look for inspiration?
Everywhere. On the street, when you're at the shops, so many people, they're everywhere. They're doing the same thing as you. So it's good to kind of see people in their own environment. And if you're going to be in that environment, it makes sense to actually just check out what other people are doing. So whether that's at, soccer practice or whatever it might be. So if it's not just around you, like visually, you can look at Pinterest, you can look at Google, you can even look at websites in terms of how they've styled their garments. So how, if you particularly like, say, for example, I don't know, Country Road, you might draw inspiration for how they've put that garment together to create a whole outfit. And yeah, look, some people like to look at Instagram accounts. There's certain ones that they particularly like. But yeah, really nothing beats just actually what you're seeing and what you're doing.
On the
Seeing
streets.
yeah, and if you're in that situation, then you've got to look to the next person to see what they're doing, given that it's the same situation.
Yeah. Are you one of those people that will like run up and take a photo and say, I've just got to find out where you got this?
No, because usually I'll know where it's from. It's from an Australian seller.
Yeah, you're like, that one was on sale. Good steal.
But even I take inspiration because, I'm not perfect. I like to see I actually love to see how other people style. So every day when I'm in store working with clients, I'm constantly looking at, what people are wearing to the shops and how they're piecing together. And I'll be like, oh, I didn't think to do that. Like, yeah, why not?
Okay, so now I'm gonna really like drill you down now because I've gone from like, your top things, then we've gone to 3.
Mhm.
Finish this sentence.
Okay.
If your trans-seasonal wardrobe only had one hero piece, it should be
A trench coat.
I was hoping you'd say that.
I've got a few and I still reach for them. I haven't bought one in the last 3 years, but I've had mine for the last maybe 7 and they're still going strong. So to me, that's an excellent sign of good use of my money and given me longevity that I need. And I still get stopped in the street going, oh, where did you get that trench from?
Where's your trench from?
Yeah. I've actually got two that I rotate particularly frequently.
Yeah.
One is from Camilla and Mark. I'll never forget the Bobby trench. It was hard to get. I got my hands on it. And then actually one that I got on sale from Basics. So, yeah, I snared a bargain there. So from two ends of the spectrum.
And the thing I love about the trench is like sometimes I could, you know, you can chuck that on when you're wearing leggings
Yes,
and all of a sudden you're like looking elevated in active wear.
that's right.
And you can kind of wear it with any outfit and
Yeah.
it just makes you put a little bit more put together.
That's right. And I think the collar helps. I think that majority of them have some sort of a belt sash. So that helps. It's those little details that really just, for me, just I can't go past, reaching for a trench all the time.
And actually the other night I'd already got changed into pajamas and I remembered I had to go to the chemist before it closed and I popped my trench on, did it up. No one knew I was in PJs.
That's so funny because I was watching a TikTok and she is heavily pregnant. She was wearing her black pajamas. She threw on a trench and then she went to a wine bar with her husband. She'll know this if she'll know this is her if she hears this.
Well, that wasn't me. I wasn't pregnant and I was going to the chemist. Not a wine bar, not as exciting.
She was just comfy and that just seemed to do enough. It gave her enough coverage, enough warmth, and she obviously felt comfortable enough to hit up a wine bar in a trench coat with her PJs.
Very versatile, the trench.
Yep.
And we've got our bougie and our budget recommendations.
Yeah.
And this is our trans-seasonal bougie and budget recos.
Yes.
All right. Okay. I'm going to do my bougie option first.
Ooh, okay.
Now, the thing about me is I am accessible queen, so my bougie option is not that bougie, to be honest, because that's just not me.
Okay.
I'm a single parent.
Yes.
So my bougie option is, and this is, even though we're a little bit into autumn, I've worn them so many times already.
Yes.
And it's Hush Puppies. It's Lauretta boots in black from Maya.
Oh yeah.
They're $249.95, and they're that equestrian boot, but in the ankle version. So versatile.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to be like, obviously in summer I don't wear them, but I've already been wearing them with like a skirt or a dress. I've worn them out to gigs. I've worn them out to dinner, with a tailored jean to work. And so you can just wear them with so many outfits, and it also just makes you, again, look a bit more put together because you're like, oh, she's in a boot.
Boot, yes.
But they're flat,
yes.
so you can dance at a festival comfortably.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
Or you can wear them to the commute to work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my versatile bougie recommendation.
My recommendation is equally versatile. However,
is it bougie? Is this your bougie one?
My bougie, but
okay.
Let me tell you, when I think bougie, I'm really going to the top end of town.
No, that's good. I want to hear that. It's nice to have accessible queen, and then we've got our aspirational queen.
Yes.
It's good to have both.
This is really luxe, but it would be a pair of the YSL Penny loafers.
Oh, okay, stunning.
I love a loafer, and I particularly like these ones because they don't come up too far up your foot, so they still show, for me, enough skin without feeling too masculine. They're not too chunky. They're comfortable. They've got a nice almond toe. They come in a range of colours. Price point, yes, excessive, totally. But
what are we talking here?
Upwards of $1,500.
Yes,
which is,
it's bougie. This is your bougie reco.
It's up there. But the colorways are awesome. There's like a chocolate suede. There's even like an eel in an kind of a crew color that they're spectacular. The good news is that so many brands have duped them remarkably well.
Yeah, exactly. So you can still look like you're wearing them.
Well, yes. Besides the YSL little logo, no one would be none the wiser. However, I'm going to take it one step further and not go for a black pair because I've already got a black loafer. So I'm looking to invest in a non-black loafer, and they are high up on my list.
Okay. What color would you go?
I do like the idea of the brown. And because I don't wear a lot of brown in garments, I would hence go to the accessories being the shoe.
Yeah. And I think yours is actually arguably more trans-seasonal because a loafer you can wear
with a dress, with skirt.
Well, with mine I can, but it's just more, you're not going to be wearing a boot in summer.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Too hot.
Well, yeah,
Not in Sydney. Not in Australia in general.
it's unlikely.
All right. So my budget it's actually the denim Shacket that I'm wearing today.
Oh, yeah.
I would say it's in my top 2% of my wardrobe that I wear.
Yep.
It's the 1964 Denim Company women's Shacket from Big W.
Mhm.
It's $35.
Wow.
I
Love it.
know.
Love
So with the sheer number of times I've worn it, I've made money in girl maths.
it.
So it's so trans-seasonal friendly because you can wear it over a tee or a tank open, and you can wear it as that really lightweight, literally like a jacket that you would put on over a dress. Today I'm wearing it with the Canadian tuxedo, being
Yes,
double denim and jeans.
I see that, and I like it.
Yes. And so for me, I just love it, and it's just comfortable. You don't have to iron it, which is big ticks in my
It's a
book.
massive tick. It's a massive tick for
Yes.
most people.
Yes.
Is it okay if I stick with a budget shoe? Because I know that for most people, the YSL option is, impossible to get. Like I said, there's the assembly label ones that are leather for $150 are bloody fantastic. There's a reason why they're on pre-order, because the girlies get it. They know.
Yeah.
They snap them up. They come in 3 colorways. They're a gem.
Okay. And what are the other colorways that are
Black chocolate and then a light creamy tone. So you can select which color you want. I think they're all on pre-order. They're that good.
and 150 compared to
Yeah.
1,500? That's a big difference. That's
And
a great.
I think the added bonus is that they're actually really sleek and minimal looking. There's no logo. There's not too much detail. There's just enough. They're really sleek looking. And I guess it's all about that quiet luxury, hey? You would never know where they're from.
Well, you might, Melissa, but most people wouldn't.
Exactly.
You would, but then that's okay.
That's right. I would know a lot, but even still, Assembly Label are known for their knitwear and they're known for other things, not so much shoes. So I love that they've kind of delved a little bit into the shoe market, and obviously it's so far worked out for them really well.
Excellent. Melissa, thank you so much for being with us today. How can we find you on Instagram? What's your handle?
Oh, Melissa Got Style.
Melissa, she does got style. Thank you so much for coming on Nothing to Wear.
Thank you so much for having me.